Hello. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Secondhand News You Can Use. I'm your host, Kimberly Jane. Joining me today are my co-host, Henry Liddell, who is our producer with Vogue and Vanity Fair credits. Also joining us today is Dr. Michaela. Dr. Michaela is the creative director and content creator, as well as the show producer for DTR TV. Welcome, everybody. We've got Gayle King in the news. Gayle loaned a guy she was dating $4,000 for child support and a furniture payment. Now, let's go through some things before we jump in. He paid her back all the money. They dated for 2 months, and she felt very different about the relationship afterwards. My question to you, would you lend somebody money that you were dating for only 2 months?
Hell no. For one, you want me to pay your child support? I did read the article, and I know he said he's going to give it back to her on Thursday. I'd have been like, brother, you handle your business when Thursday comes. You wouldn't get anything from me. If we've been dating for a long time, and we had a relationship established, of course I would help my man out. But no, sir. But it reminds me of a guy that I once dated. Well, he asked me on a date to a restaurant. We get there, and he's patting himself down. He all of a sudden forgot his wallet when we got to the restaurant, and he wanted to know my tax bracket. So he never got to see me again. But this guy would never see me again. The answer is hell no. I will not give you $4,000 to pay your child support and get some furniture. You wait till Thursday and do your business.
Henry Liddell, how do you feel? I know that's right. Henry Liddell.
Oh my God, there is a word for this on the streets, and it's called ratchet. And yeah, just the idea of helping somebody pay their child support and a furniture payment, meaning that it was rented. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, if you're making 6 figures and you're having to rent furniture, that is a red flag right there. Yes. I think it's absurd. I would, of course, like, you've been dating somebody for 4 months and they're asking you for $4,000. I don't care what tax bracket you're in. That's a lot of money to ask somebody that you just started to date. So I think it sounds horrible, absolutely horrible.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Not to mention the fact, I would start wondering, if you are asking me at 2 months in, what are you going to need a year later, 2 years later, when I become, like, what if we become an item? I mean, a serious item. Can you afford me? I mean, it's a real conversation. Can you afford to be dating me right now if you can't even make your child support payments? My perspective is, have your affairs in order before you bring a significant end to your life. That's
right. Not just financial, emotional,
all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
Before you put that baggage aside.
You know what it sounds like to me too? I think he was testing her. I think he was actually trying to see how much money he could get out of her in the beginning of the relationship so that he can use her in the future for financial reasons.
Well, now he gets nothing.
Yeah.
For financial reasons, for the same reason he wanted her now and tested her. Now he knows, right? All right, let's keep it moving on. Yes. Another hot topic we have going on: eyewitness to the killing of Run DMC's Jam Master Jay. I remember Jam Master Jay. Uriel Rincon testifies before a jury after 15 years of stating that he didn't recognize the gunman. Jam Master Jay's wounds were fatal. Rincon himself was wounded in the rap star's recording studio, and Rincon has stated that he feared for his life as well as the safety of his mother. Do you think that Uriel Rincon's decision to keep quiet was the right decision? Either one of you can take that first.
I think it just depends on, what the actual situation is. I don't know what the word on the street was, what the temperature was like, but these guys kind of teeter between two worlds, the streets and then affluency, right? And so you have these people who have like butlers and maids and big multi-million-dollar contracts, but then they're also connected with the streets. And at the end of the day, you can't necessarily take your whole family with you on the journey. So we don't know who was vulnerable in the streets, who was not. And so he may have felt like he was putting himself or his family's life in danger by speaking on the stand.
I agree with you about that. I do.
Yeah.
I think he was really... Go ahead, Michaela.
Yeah, I know he was like 20 years old, but it's kind of a catch-22 because, I mean, that's your friend. I think And I know that I read that during the funeral that the killer whispered something in his ear and asked if he saw anything or said something. He intimidated him at the funeral. But I think, I don't know. I think my ethics would have outweighed my fear in that case. And he would have been safer having the guy in prison than having him on the street. So I think that I would have immediately told who the gunman was.
I think I probably would have been thinking like, he's young. If he was young, I probably would have thought, what if the what if probably would have weighed heavier on me. What if he does have somebody? Because one thing I do know is it's never just the one person that operates alone. So even if one person goes to jail, there's still his crew on the outside. So then there's the fear of retaliation, maybe from whoever else they might be connected to. So I'm not sure. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. But we are, prayers for the family. I'm sure that's a difficult thing for them as well, because it's like ripping a Band-Aid off the wound. Yeah, I'm sure they would have loved to have known a lot sooner. So we're going to just keep them lifted in prayer, and hopefully things will settle out, and we'll see, and we'll keep you updated on whatever comes up next with that. Did you want to add anything else to it?
Yeah, I wonder how the family feels. I wonder how they feel about it now, knowing that he's kept that for all those years.
All those years. Yeah. That's a lot to hold on to, though, if you think about that. I would think he's got to feel like, I'm just so glad that's out now. Like, there's got to be some kind of relief that comes with that,
I'm going to add something.
All right, we'll move on to our next.
I want to add something to that really quick. Something personal. I'm from the project. So I've been in situations, and I've had family members in situations where something happened and they didn't say anything because, they said that they feared for our lives. So they didn't speak, and they went to prison and did the time and all this stuff because they felt like, our lives were in danger. So for me, I feel like I understand why he didn't say anything, because there could have seriously been an actual threat,
True. and who wants to risk the, dang, if I had just not said anything, X, Y, and Z would still be alive. So he took the heat. All right, so we got to move on to this one. This is a good one. This is a good one. Comedian Faison Love has Katt Williams arrested outside of Hollywood nightclub in 2012. Okay, 2012. But we know it's been in the news, so we know things are starting to come up that maybe we didn't talk about before, but now everybody's bringing some stuff up. So Faison alleged that a gun was pulled on him. They got into it over a $50,000 debt that Katt Williams owed Faison. He was released with no charges filed. That means Katt was released, no charges were filed. And he claims that Faison called the police on him, and then Faison ran into the club. When released, Williams stated that Love is a bald-faced rat for calling the police. Do you think Faison was wrong for getting the police involved in an altercation with a fellow comedian? And I'm going to go with Henry first, because I got another question I want to ask Michaela. Henry, go ahead.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. Katt Williams, God love him. He's a genius, but he is wily. He is, he's a little bit out there. And I imagine, I can just see him doing some crazy stuff. And so, in the beginning, I thought, oh, did he do, was it disrespectful? Should he have not called the police? Because, anytime you call the police on a Black person, you're putting their life in danger in the United States. It's just the way it is.
True. That is
but Katt Williams let's not pretend like Katt Williams is not out there. Who knows what he did? In fact, it was alleged that he pulled a gun, He's little. I can see him carrying a weapon just in case.
Yeah, I can. Michaela, would you have expected Katt to resolve this peacefully, or would you have expected a Katt Williams to pull a gun and handle his business? What do you think, based on, we don't know him personally, but what do you think Katt's proper response should be, or fitting?
Well, here's my question: Did he have a gun? Is that true? Is the story true? Because
I don't know. I don't know if he had the gun, based on the fact that when he walked out, he made comments like, well, they didn't find anything and I'm walking away.
He probably did have a gun. Somebody else probably took it. But I think that, I mean,
'Cause
just to call it,
he's admitted he keeps a peace with him. I mean, he's
right.
admitted that. But is
I
he gonna
think
be?
that's just a little bit of a bitch move to me on Faison's part, really. I mean, it's like a baby mama getting mad at her baby because she saw a baby daddy out with another chick, and so you're gonna call the police because he has some warrants or something, you know? That's
Right.
just like me. But I mean, he made light of the entire situation. So he's wily, he's clever. If he did have a gun, somebody probably took it. But I just think that, like you said, he's a big dude.
Yes.
Handle your stuff. I mean,
Well, didn't they say that apparently, I don't know, this is rumored, this is alleged that Katt Williams owes him $50,000. I mean, can you imagine? I'm sure I could see why he would be pissed off. That's like a week worth of like McDonald's for him. So I could see why he would be very angry.
You are
because
you know Faison can eat.
Yeah.
Did he not? He said he's a fat Faison line. But here's what I think, and that lives rent free in my head. I think the reason that this is even surfacing right now is because Katt Williams called out Faison, and people are bringing up the old stuff. But that tells us, which I didn't know, that there was history. Obviously, they had some bad blood between them. Faison is still angry. Faison's still talking. But I just say this. You didn't pick the right one to go up against, because if you did not see what he did with over 30 million views, Faison, go somewhere and sit down or go work out or do whatever you need to do. But I would be quiet if I were you, Faison. I wouldn't be resurfacing. I would tell my PR people, calm down, put everything aside, let the dust settle or something, because Katt is going to come back for those edges. Oh, he didn't have hair. Well, Katt's going to come back for him. He'll come back.
You know what? It's just elevating Katt more and more. All this stuff just put him higher on the
putting the board on this. They keep boosting him up.
All right, now Shannon Sharpe, he said that Beyonce doesn't move the needle for the NFL like Taylor Swift. Now, for starters, they are not the same. They're not the same. She doesn't sing like Beyonce. She doesn't have, Beyonce is not shaped like a pretzel. Beyonce can dance. She can, she's doing a little yoga and cheer moves. I don't think, at first I was wondering, I'm like, who paid him to say that? But then I think that he was coming from a consumer standpoint, because let's face it, she's white. She has a larger fan base than Beyonce will ever have, although Beyonce does have more social media followers. But, if you remember Beyonce's performance at that halftime she performed at the Super Bowl, she did a fantastic job. It was lit. I mean, a lot of people didn't like her lyrics to her songs because, it was so politically correct. It offended a lot of racists. But, talent-wise, you cannot compare the two. So I'm thinking that he's saying that she doesn't move the needle because economically, I'm hoping that's what he means. That's what I'm hoping.
So I think you're right. Based on these facts right here, the Bills-Chiefs postseason matchup drew a record 50.4 million viewers, the most watched divisional round game ever. The debate came about a hypothetical Super Bowl halftime show scenario, with Sharpe saying Swift would be the NFL's top pick. And I think it is, for the reason that you said. Taylor Swift has generated an equivalent brand value of $331.5 million for the Chiefs and the NFL. Tell me of another person that's going to do that, Sharpe explained. Johnson suggests Beyonce, which prompted an immediate rebuttal from his co-host. Ocho Cinco was in disbelief, as were members of the Beehive, who quickly posted in the comments section. Do you really think Beyonce would garner as much attention as the views and as much revenue as Taylor Swift, Henry?
Of course, Beyonce would garner as much attention. It's Beyonce. Let's be real about this. It's Beyonce. And if you didn't know who Beyonce was and she got out on stage and does what she does, she'd be Beyonce again. So I think that, at the end of the day, if Beyonce was not with Jay-Z and she was dating somebody in the NFL, it would be outrageous, paparazzi and news coverage consistently. And so I think, was he looking from a consumer standpoint? Maybe. Was he just trying to be controversial to get more attention on his podcast? That's what I think he was doing.
probably got a point there too. I think it's a money grab. I think it's romance is in the air. People love to see people together. People love the romance of it all. And I think Shannon's comment did come from a financial place, but as a Black woman, I would feel, and I'm just saying for me, I would feel like you should say that our Beyonce got just as much of a shot as pulling people as Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor has got some stuff for her that we don't have. It's called privilege, right? And I think part of that plays a factor. And therefore, they're like, we're gonna wear this out. So much so that I saw, and it was an advertisement, Macy's. Let me be very clear. You can see it for yourself. And they said the NFL has decided to red out. They're going to go red for the Super Bowl. And they had a huge jersey with Kansas City on it. They had a Kansas City hat. And in the background, really, really small, they had a 49ers jersey. You had to zoom in to be able to see it. Do I think there's favoritism? Do I think there's bias? Oh, absolutely I do. So yes, I already think she is already at an advantage because of privilege. But do I think Beyonce could swing the pendulum? Did I say that right?
You
Dr.
did.
Michaela? Thank you, love. Because I know you would be right there with me to let me know. Oh, by the way, boo, that wasn't right. But yeah, I think Beyonce could bring it just as strong, and she's got backing and pull and power just the same. I think there is bias there though, for sure. What else you have, Dr. Michaela?
Which brings me to my next point. So I don't know if you all saw her trying to swag surf at the game. So now Taylor Swift has been given credit for swag surfing.
You know what? I'm gonna say that again, because you know what, the people probably misunderstood what you said. Say it
Taylor
again.
Swift is being credited for swag surfing. Come on, y'all. Come on. Can we have anything?
No.
She was swag surfing to the treble. She
wasn't even swag surfing. She was skag surfing. I don't care what she was skag surfing. She looked like she was just getting ready to learn how to do it. But they are gonna highlight everything she does. Everything. Henry.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. They won't even let us have a cold. Everything, they have to take everything.
Everything.
Now, as stiff as our darling is, we know Taylor Swift doesn't have a whole lot of swag. Okay, that's probably the last thing I think of.
Okay.
Swag.
Well, let's add insult to injury. Her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, is being credited for a fade. They call the Kelce fade. Black men, and that's a Black man style. Black men get fades. Now we know he likes his sisters. He got Black in his heart. But
he does. He likes a little swirl.
He likes the sisters. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
yes.
his previous honey. She's beautiful too. And listen, they had a chemistry. I don't care what anybody says. The chemistry the two of them had was unmatched. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, Michaela.
Yeah. But sorry, people, he did not he is not responsible for the fade. Black men have been fading their hair for I don't know how long. We can't have anything. We can't have anything. We can't.
And I'm gonna say this. He didn't say
just like Bo Derek and those damn when she got the cornrows, all of a sudden Bo Derek was responsible for was credited for cornrows. They weren't cool until she did it.
Exotic.
Well, I guess Angelina Jolie. Right.
Huh?
I guess. Go ahead, Michaela.
I'm like, please, you're insulting my ancestors. Stop it. Anytime we have something, let a white person adopt that style, and all of a sudden they get credit for something that we've been living with for ages.
Or that we were criticized. We were criticized for or teased. Full lips, big hips, and now what? Right. I guess Angelina Jolie created the lips, and J-Lo was the one that was the first one to have a big behind in the industry. I guess they started all of that too.
Right.
We don't get credit for that. Okay.
No.
That's how that's gonna work. Okay.
No. So just stop it, people. Just stop it because you're making me mad.
All right. Any other hot topics for us?
Well, just that, did you guys know that the U.S. Department of Health issued travel advisory against for Jamaica and the Bahamas? There were 18 murders at the beginning of the year. In January, 18 murders. I got my video camera stolen in Jamaica one time.
What was on it?
I was going to say,
worried about?
are we going to see it circulate again?
It's been a while, so maybe it was not that impressive.
So I know that they have had gang-on-gang violence in Nassau, which is one of the reasons the U.S. Department of State updated the travel advisory for the Bahamas. And then, of course, currently there's been no impact on cruises from Port Canaveral. That's significant. I'm getting ready to go on a cruise, so I think that's important for me to know too.
Well, you know what? I think that when they're talking about, there hasn't been any effects with cruises and tourism and stuff like that, is because there are two different Jamaicas, right? You have the spa and the destination, and then you have like the resort. And so yeah, I think as long as you're staying in the tourist areas and the resorts, you should be fine.
All right. Thank you, Michaela. That was excellent. Next up, we have Black Star News.
Yes, we have Black Star News. I wanted to put together a segment that kind of showcases our Black stars. And in this particular segment, we're going to talk about the ones that we lost. We lost Carl Weathers. He had such a long, varied career. He had fans of all ages, races, and genders. And this is according to The Root, okay? Wither played Apollo Creed and Rocky, Chubbs and Happy Gilmore, and Grief and Kara in the Mandalorian, which was a fantastic, teleseries of the Star Wars series. They literally shot every episode like it was a movie. So it was like you were seeing a film. But he passed away at the age of 76. He died in his home in his sleep. And I just wanted to commemorate him. And then we also lost somebody that everybody knows, like you don't think you know him, but you do know. We lost Oprah's makeup artist. Remember him? Do y'all remember him? Reggie Wells. He did her makeup. He did her hair. Did she make him famous? Like because of that? Yes, from being on the show.
Yeah, I do know. Yes.
He did Michelle Obama's hair. I mean, Beyonce, Whitney Houston. He was a big deal. He passed away at the age of 76. I didn't know he was that old, actually. So that's kind of shocking.
It's not old.
I was going to say.
I thought 76, though. I thought he was like maybe, black don't crack. I thought he was like late 50s, maybe 60.
Right.
Seriously, I didn't know he was in his 70s. We also lost, a tragic death of Dexter Scott King. He died January the 22nd after a long battle with prostate cancer. He was only 62 years old, and he was the youngest son of Dr. Martin Luther King, and he very handsome man, looked like his dad. And, I think it's just so sad that men do not have to die of prostate cancer. So men go and get your prostate checked. It's so important, especially once you hit 40, you should be getting your prostate checked every year. And then we have Marla Shaw. Anybody know? I'm sorry, Marlena Shaw. Do you guys remember her?
Yes.
Okay, Marlena Shaw died on January the 19th at the age of 81. I didn't know she was 81. Her daughter announced that the legendary jazz singer passed in an emotional video on Facebook. Shaw was a mainstay in jazz and R&B soul for years and was known for the song California Soul, as well as Woman of the Ghetto.
Oh.
I have one of her songs on my playlist too.
You're a huge jazz enthusiast, so I'm not surprised.
So that pretty much wraps up this segment. Thank you guys so much. And we want to, commemorate those people and send our prayers to them.
Absolutely.
And I got one more for you.
What you got?
Garrett received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on his birthday. Yeah, he was one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live and the first Black cast member on Saturday Night Live. And he's from New Orleans. I went to college in New Orleans, Xavier. He went to Dillard. I went to Xavier. Xavier is superior, what I must say. But he also went
to university, but go ahead.
Yeah, it is the premier university. But he's yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff, you know. But he went to Juilliard as well. But you know, he was in the Wayans Brothers, Jamie Foxx show, Two Broke Girls, a lot of stuff. Do you remember? He's on the Jeffersons. He's been, I mean, his filmography is incredible. But do you remember a time when he was mugged and shot?
No.
No.
Remember that? It was in 1994. And the thing about, they got the guy, but they did not put the guy in prison for shooting him. He was in prison for parole violation. So I guess, you know, shooting a black man, him just didn't matter. His life didn't matter, that he almost died.
Wow.
But the guy did get his ass beat in prison though.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm really
Like,
proud.
good.
Hey, it comes when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Karmically.
Excellent information. I want to add one thing, and then we're going to close out, which is we are getting another HBCU in San Francisco. So kudos to San Francisco. They're going to be building an HBCU, and that warms my heart, since I know we come from HBCUs. They're outstanding, and I think it's a perfect time to announce it, which is now Black History Month.
I think that's
Okay.
fantastic. And hopefully, you know, I'm definitely going to be visiting that HBCU because it's Black and it's in San Francisco. So I'm definitely
Exactly
there.
Hey, they may need
why
to
not?
abolish you. You know, they may need to abolish you, Professor.
That's right. Well, this concludes our show for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. And don't forget to drop a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Follow us on social media and more. And again, thank you for joining us. Until next time, have a wonderful evening.